The top 5 things you should avoid on your first date. Let's assume you have gone on your first date with a prospective partner. What are these 5 things that you should avoid at all cost? Because if you don't avoid, you will go on another date and another one, and you will never hear from them. Most people have gone to first dates, but they never heard from that person again. Not because they were not beautiful, not because they were not handsome, not because they were not ready for marriage, but because of these 5 things that I'm going to discuss in this podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. This is Jeng and Jero. On this show, we pair men and women for the sake of marriage, but we also enlighten them because to be informed is to be transformed, and to be uninformed is to be deformed. The more enlightened you are on any subject matter, the greater the level of command you gain. Okay. Now, what are these 5 things that you should always avoid on your first date? Because I can guarantee you, you do them, it's a done deal. No matter how much the person viewed you as attractive, if you do them, this person is likely not to come back to you. So, number one, bragging too much. I believe that the first date is a very ideal position. It is a very good avenue to share your strengths and weaknesses. It is also a very good place where you can state some of your achievements, but don't overstate them. There are people who overstate their achievements like they have low self-esteem. You see, one sign of low self-esteem is a person who keeps on mentioning what they have been able to achieve so far. I have this, I have that, I have the other, I am intending to have this, very soon I'll have this, and so on and so forth. If you are that kind of person, I have some bad news for you, that that person that you're trying to date will see you as a jack, as somebody who is not very serious with life, and somebody who is rather pragmatic, somebody who is coming out as boastful. And nobody wants to be staying around, living around somebody who is boasting all the time. We still have achievements, but we choose not to keep on mentioning or to be shouting about them to everyone who cares to listen. So if you brag too much, umebanta. Number two, sex talk. You see, I believe that to a higher degree, marriage and intimacy, relationship, and not the whole idea of intimacy, emotions, romance, love, and love making can never be separated. But wisdom is the ability to recognize difference. That wisdom helps you to know what to talk about at what point and what to refrain from at what point. The first date is not a sex talk date. It is not the best avenue to be speaking about intimacy. This is not where you'll be speaking about how good you are or how bad you can be. This is not the place where you'll be discussing matters of bedroom. Bedroom matters can be left for another date. Even if you mention them, maybe on a lighter note. But if the entire conversation is dominated by sex talk, I can guarantee you that partner is likely to view you as a sex predator, as somebody whose only intention is bedroom matters, and you are not likely to hear from them again because you misbehaved. If the conversation is dominated by sex language, sex talk, what you can and cannot do, what you will and will not do, what you love and what you don't, then that conversation makes the other partner very uncomfortable. And you see, there are even people who are very indisciplined. When was the last time? So, how long is the dry spell? You should be learning some of these things from us. Have you ever seen me ask a candidate those stupid questions on the show? Have you? No, because they don't even, it doesn't even matter, does it? No. So if you ask that question, I hear you saying that umebanned. I don't know what that means, but maybe it's coined to mean mess. You have just messed up your chances. So if the conversation is entirely dominated by the sex talk, the bedroom matters, then that is not the elephant in the bedroom. And that conversation can end there. End. Then, number three, dressing inappropriately. You see, a first date is an interview that is actually sometimes more important than a job interview. These days, because of technology, diversity, and the many changes that have happened over the time, people don't view your dressing as something that can be very impactful on your job. For instance, if you're going for a radio job, you want to become a presenter today, have you seen them wearing suits all the days? Have you seen them going for interviews with, let's say, their suit ties on? No, because they believe that your delivery is not directly proportional to the kind of dressing you're wearing or you're putting on. However, dates are different because that is the first impression of a life partner. First impressions are last impressions. You don't get another chance to make the first impression, ladies and gentlemen. Don't dress inappropriately. Inappropriate dressing does not mean you have to wear expensive clothes. No. To dress inappropriately, number one, can mean profanity, maybe very short dresses, your skin is all out, maybe you're wearing your brows, and maybe the entire cleavage is out, the breasts are out, or if it's for the man, the trouser is sagging. You see, you look like you are a caveman. You have not made your hair neat. You're not neat. You're not presentable. You're not somebody the other person can be proud of. Are you getting the point? That's what I mean. And you will be coming out as a person that is careless, somebody who doesn't care about impressions, somebody that does not even care about how the other person will look like being with them. You know, you don't want the other person to be asking themselves, tutamalizana sangapi huyu aende, tutamalizana sangapi niende. At what point is this meeting ending that they have to fake maybe a phone call, they have to fake an appointment, they have to fake something, apige simu mpaka aseme, you know what, I'm coming, I'm on my way, because they want to cut short the date. Why? Because you are inappropriately dressed. And inappropriate dressing comes a long way in defining things like scent, body scent, aroma. How do you smell? Smell nice. Okay? This is the first date, for heaven's sake. You are going on an interview with a person who is likely to be the partner you are sleeping with, living with, dining with for the rest of your life. Come dressed well. This is a date. And if you don't observe some of these rules, you'll never hear from these partners again. Okay? So it's very important to understand some of these things. Another thing is overtalking. Have you ever seen people who dominate an entire conversation? They never want to hear from you. They just want you to hear from them. It's boring. And if you start dating, sometimes it can work with introverts because introverts don't talk too much. But also, introverts can be extroverts around the right people. Anybody can talk. What hivyo mnasemanga they are introverts and extroverts. Introverts are extroverts around the right people. There are people who don't talk, but they just become reserved because of the companies they are keeping, because of the people they are around. They don't want to be open. However, if you give them a chance, if they feel comfortable around you, they can really talk. Are we together? So let us not have this conversation being one-sided, that you are the one talking. Oh, no. This is not even a monologue. This is a dialogue between the both of you, meaning you have to get very good at turn taking. The person is talking, you respond. The person is talking, you listen. When the person, don't interrupt rudely. The person is telling you, nimetoka Laikipia, anaanza kukuambia venye unajua Laikipia yote, gavana wa kwanza, gavana wa pili, kwa nini hawajarudi the second term, hata unajua sijui nani wa Laikipia, unajua sijui wapi. He has an opinion of everything. She has an opinion of everything. Pima mealio. Unajua hiyo kupima, nasema unapima balance properly. At least mtu anasikia, at least unamheshimu. You listen to them, you hear them out, you are ready to listen to them. Now that takes us to point number 5. The 5, or this is the 5th one. These are the top 5 things you should avoid on a first date. Now this is the 5th one. Don't criticize your partner. You see, criticism puts people on the defensive. If you criticize me, I don't view it as correction. There are people who take criticism with a lot of seriousness. and how you criticize. Nobody is against criticism, but can't you dwell on the positive things? At least, even if you are to criticize something, okay, even if you are to criticize something, make sure you also praise. They go hand in hand. And don't, you can even choose. You see, love covers a multitude of many sins. If you've gone on a first date, focus on the strengths of that person. Don't be the person who wants to correct them, to change them immediately. In fact, let the other person go home feeling like a winner. Even if that relationship does not work, that person will live to respect you because you did not try to demean them. Most times than not, when people are criticized, they develop some sense of low self-esteem. And some of the people we are having don't even know how to do positive criticism. Unaongea vizuri lakini umenona. Kunona nayo umenona. Unakaa vizuri lakini hizi lips zako ni kubwa. Ulizaliwa hivyo. And you're like, some of these things we didn't choose. You see a man, you've gone on a date, he's a very good man, mpaka unamwambia unaongea vizuri lakini hii ufupi sidhani kama tutawezana. Mimi mwanaume mfupi kama wewe is a no-no, and the guy is maybe 3 feet, 4 feet. Let people go home feeling like they are winners. Are we together? Unaenda date na mtu, you are criticizing everything. I have loved everything, lakini chakula kwa meza nayo unameza. What is this? Don't criticize that person. You may be very attractive, you can be good meaning, but if you criticize and you do that to your partner, that person might not be willing to fall in love or to go back home with you. The last one, this is a bonus. Don't confess love on the first date. You will come out as a desperate partner. You see, the first date is not the first place to tell, hey, nimekupenda, ni wewe na ni wewe. Let me teach you something. It is good to strike a balance in life and always be the person who takes things slowly. Don't show desperation. Desperation scares people away. Okay? Umeenda first date, umesema sasa futa hizo contact za watu wengine, sasa nini. Let the person feel like it can work with or without you. I am comfortable with or without you. You're not saying it to appear like you're rude, but you're just simply telling them, okay, we will see how it goes. Tutaona. Let the will of God be done. The best parting shot. Let the will of God. Mimi nimekulike, but let the will of God be done. And the first date is not even the first place to ask people, umenipenda wewe? Uko sure? Nitajuaje umenipenda? Situende kwako. No, sinichukue room. Si ushakula. Nini ngine wanataka? That is the caveman mentality. We need to get out of that. Okay? So until then, this is Jenga Njero. I'll see you in the next video, and I'm hoping that you're liking this podcast. What else can we avoid on the first date? Subscribe.